Hello there, thanks for stopping by Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. Robert Max here, hope everyone's doing well. This is episode 121, and tonight we are at Metropolitan Stadium for game number 38 of the Oldtimer Kings King of the Hill tournament using Strat-O-Matic basic Oldtimer teams. And we have the current Kings, the 1965 Minnesota Twins, taking on the 1961 Cincinnati Reds. Before we get to the starting lineups, let's take a look at the status of the Hill. How the Twins are trying to get to 500. If they win this game, they'll be 3-3. The Reds are looking for that fifth win, which would tie them with the 54 Indians, 50 Phillies, and the 50 Yankees, who are the only three teams that have 5 wins so far. And on deck are the 53 Brooklyn Dodgers, and the 54 Cleveland Indians are in the hole. All right, starting lineups for tonight's game. First for the visiting Reds, 1961 Reds, leading off at second base, Don Blasingame. Batting second, Eddie Casco. He's at shortstop. Batting third, Vada Pinson. He's in center field. Batting fourth is right fielder Frank Robinson. Batting fifth is left fielder Wally Post. Batting sixth, third baseman Gene Freeze. Batting seventh, Gordy Coleman. He's at first. Batting eighth, catcher John Edwards. And batting ninth and pitching is Bob Purkey. In 1961, he was 16-12 with a 3.73 ERA and 246 innings pitched. He gets the number 1 pitcher's hitting card. Now for the current Kings, the 1965 Minnesota Twins, leading off Zoilo Versalles. He's at shortstop. Batting second, Sandy Valdespino. He is in right field tonight. He's playing for the injured Jimmy Hall, who's out 2 more games. Tony Oliva moves to center field, and he bats third. Batting fourth, Harmon Killebrew. He's at third base. Batting fifth, Bob Allison. He's in left field. Batting sixth, catcher Earl Batty. Batting seventh, first baseman Don Mincher. Batting eighth, Jerry Kindle. He's at second base. And on the hill and batting ninth is Camilo Pascual. In 1965, he was 9-3 with a 3.35 ERA and 156 innings pitched. And he gets the number 3 pitcher's hitting card. All right, so I think we're ready to get underway here. Pascual finishes his warm-up tosses, and Don Blasingame steps into the batter's box. And we get a play ball from the umpire, and here's the pitch. That's a ground ball to second baseman Kindle, over to Mincher for the first out. 4-3, and there's 1 away. It's going to bring up shortstop Eddie Casco. And Casco draws a 1-out walk. So we've got Casco on first base with 1 away, and Vada Pinson coming to the plate, center fielder for the Reds. Here's the pitch. And that's a strikeout, first strikeout for Pascual. And there are 2 away here in the top of the first. So 2 outs, a man on first. And Red slugger, right fielder Frank Robinson. From the stretch, Pascual delivers. And that's a strikeout number 2 for Pascual, and that ends the inning. So with 1/2 inning in the books, it's the Reds 0, and the Twins coming to bat. Pascual gets his first fatigue point. Someone had asked me, I believe in one of the Facebook groups, where I got that fatigue system. I honestly don't remember. I think it was from one of the Strat-O-Matic Facebook groups. But if anybody's interested in it, just contact me and I'll get it to you somehow. All right, so here we are, bottom of the first. Bob Purkey on the mound for the Reds, and leading off for Minnesota is shortstop Zoilo Versalles. Here's the pitch. That's a ground ball to third baseman Jerry Coleman over to, or excuse me, Gene Freese over to Jerry Coleman. And there's one away. So one out, nobody on. Sandy Valdespino. He's in right field today, playing for the injured Jimmy Hall. There's the pitch. And he hits a ground ball to first baseman Coleman. He's going to take that unassisted for the second out. So 2 outs, nobody on. And Tony Oliva. Oliva's in center field today. And here's the pitch. He pops this one up. It's going to stay in the infield. Don Blasingame's under that. Makes the catch. And the Twins go 1-2-3. So we got 1 inning in the books, and we are scoreless. Bob Purkey gets his first fatigue point, and we go to the top of the second. And leading off this inning for the Reds is left fielder Wally Post. Pascual delivers. And that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 3. 3 batters in a row for Pascual. And there's one away in the top of the second. That brings up third baseman Gene Freese. Pascual delivers. And Freese hits one down the left field line. Bob Allison gets to it, but not before Freese cruises into second with a 1-out double. So Freese is on second for the Reds with 1 out. And first baseman Gordy Coleman. Pascual delivers. It's a ground ball to third base, and it's going to be an X-check. Harm Killebrew is a 4. And we roll a 4. And that's going to score a run. That gets by Killebrew. Rolls into left field. Freese comes around third and scores. And it is scored a double. So Gordy Coleman at second with the RBI double. And the Reds lead 1-0. Pascual gets his second fatigue point. So 1 out, man on second. The Reds lead 1-0 here in the top of the second. And here's catcher John Edwards. He hits a fly ball to center field. Tony Oliva's under that. Makes the catch. Coleman holds at second base. And there are 2 outs here in the top of the second. That's going to bring up the pitcher, Bob Purkey. 2 outs, man on second. And that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 4 for Pascual. But the Reds do pick up a run on back-to-back doubles by Gene Freese and Gordy Coleman, and with 1.5 innings in the books, it's the Reds 1 and the Twins 0. Pascual gets his third fatigue point. Purkey's out here for the bottom of the second, and the first batter he's going to face is Harmon Killebrew, followed by Bob Allison and Earl Batty. That's a fly ball to left field. Wally Post is under that, makes the catch, and there's one away here in the bottom of the second. Next up, Bob Allison. Here's the pitch. It's a ground ball to short. That's Casco over to Gordy Coleman for the second out, 6-3. And there's 2 away here in the bottom of the second. It's going to bring up catcher Earl Batty. He hits a ground ball to Eddie Casco. Over to Gordy Coleman. 6-3 put out. And once again, the Twins go 1-2-3. So after 2 innings, It's the Reds 1 and the Twins nothing. Purkey gets his second fatigue point. Top of the third, Pascual's going to face top of the order here with Don Blasingame. He's 0 for 1. Grounded out his first time up. Here's the pitch. He hits a fly ball to center field. And Tony Oliva's under that. Makes the catch for the first out. And there's one away here in the top of the third. It's going to bring up Red shortstop Eddie Casco. Reds lead 1-0 here. He hits a fly ball to left field. Bob Allison's under that. And he makes the catch at the warning track. There's 2 away. Vada Pinson, center fielder for the Reds. He struck out his first time up. This time he hits a fly ball to center field. Tony Oliva at the track makes the catch, and the Reds go 1-2-3 in the top of the third. So after 2.5 innings, it's the Reds 1 and the Twins nothing. Pascual gets his 4th fatigue point. As we go to the bottom of the third, Bob Purkey, first batter he's going to face is Don Mincher, Twins first baseman. Purkey winds and delivers. That's a fly ball to left field. Wally Post under that, near the track, makes the catch, 1 away. So 1 out, nobody on, brings up second baseman Jerry Kendall. It's a fly ball to center field. It's an X check. Vada Pinson is a 2. We roll a 3. And Pinson boots that one out there. And Kendall cruises into second with a 2-base error. E8, excuse me. And that's the first error of the game. And it's committed by the Reds. So there's a man on second with 1 out. And Camilo Pascual, the Reds pitcher, and he's going to lay down a bunt. We roll an 8. And that one rolls in front of first base, or excuse me, home plate. That is a perfect bunt. Kendall gets to move to third. Only play for Edwards is to fire over to Gordy Coleman for the 2-3 sack. Put out, and there are 2 away. Nice bunt by Pascual. Back to the top of the order. And Zoilo Versalis with a man on third and 2 outs. He hits a ground ball right back to Bob Purkey. He jogs towards first base. And Gordy Coleman receives the toss. And that's going to do it for the Twins here in the bottom of the third. So they threaten, but can't get the runner home. And with 3 innings in the books, it's still the Reds 1 and the Twins nothing. Purkey gets his 3rd fatigue point. Pascual's out for top of the 4th, and the first batter is Frank Robinson. Robinson struck out his first time up, but not this time. This time he lays one down the left field line. It's bouncing around in the corner. Allison is trying to track it down. Frank Robinson makes the turn at second and slides into third with a leadoff triple. My. So a man on third with nobody out and Wally Post. Looks like Minnesota's playing the infield back. And this one is popped up. It's going to stay in the infield. And Jerry Kendall's under that, makes the catch, and there's 1 away. So now there's 1 out with a man on third, and Gene Freese. Freese doubled his last time up. He's 1 for 1. Here's the pitch. And look out. This is a deep fly ball to center field. Excuse me. That sends Tony Oliva back to the track, to the wall. He jumps, but it's way up out of here, gone. A 2-run shot for Gene Freeze. And the Reds now lead 3-0. And Pascual gets his 5th and 6th fatigue points. So now it's 3-0. 1 out, nobody on. And Gordy Coleman. Yeah, that's a 1-out single for Coleman. He's 2 for 2 now. Hits it up the middle, makes the turn, but stays at first base. So man on first with 1 out. And catcher John Edwards. He pops this one up. And Kindle's under that, calls everyone else off, makes the catch, and there are 2 away. So 2 outs with a man on first and pitcher Bob Purkey. Purkey struck out his first time up. And make that 2. He strikes out again to end the inning. That's the 5th strikeout for Pascual. But the Reds pick up 2 more runs on Gene Freeze's 2-run home run. And after 3.5 innings, the Reds lead 3-0. Pascual gets his 7th fatigue point. Purkey, who's at 3, comes out here for the bottom of the 4th. And leading off will be right fielder Sandy Valdespino. Valdespino grounded to first his first time up. Here's the pitch. And that's a strikeout. That's the first strikeout for Purkey. There's 1 away here in the bottom of the 4th. So 1 out, nobody on. And Tony Oliva, who's playing center tonight. For the Twins, he is 0 for 1. He hits a ground ball back to Purkey. Fires over to Gordy Coleman for the 1-3 put out, and there are 2 away. So 2 outs, nobody on. Reds lead 3-0. Harmon Killebrew's at the plate. And he flied out his first time. And he flies this one out, or flies this one to left field. And Wally Post is under that, makes the catch for the 3rd out. Twins go 1, 2, 3. And after 4 innings of play, it's the Reds 4. Or excuse me, the Reds 3. And the Twins nothing. Purkey gets his 4th fatigue point. And we're back to the top of the order for the Reds here in the top of the 5th. And it's Don Blasingame, second baseman. He's 0 for 2. But not any longer. He hits one right up the middle. No one can make a play on it. That's a leadoff single for Blasingame. So he's on first with nobody out. And shortstop Eddie Casco, who walked his first time up, and he's 0 for 1. And he lines this one right at third baseman. Harm Killebrew makes a catch. He fires over to first base, but Blasingame gets back in time. And there's 1 out. So Blasingame on first, 1 out, and Veda Pinson, who is 0 for 2. And make that 0 for 3 because he strikes out looking here. Has a few words for the umpire as he heads back. That's strikeout number 6 for Pascual. 2 outs, man on first. And Frank Robinson. Robinson tripled his first time up and was brought home on Gene Freeze's shot to center field. And this time Robinson draws a walk. So that's going to move Blasingame up to second. There's runners on first and second for the Reds with 2 outs. Wally posts. The Reds lead this one 3-0. Here's the pitch. And it's called ball 4. That's 2 walks in a row, and there's some activity now in the Twins bullpen. And it looks like it's Jim Merritt warming up. Warming up for the Twins. Excuse me, just in case Pascual can't get out of this. There's 2 outs. The bases are jacked, and Gene Freeze, who hit a home run his last time up, he's 2 for 2. Here's the pitch. And he strikes out. Strikeout number 7 for Pascual. He gets out of the jam. So the Reds threaten. Had the bases loaded and couldn't get anyone in. And after 4.5, it's the Reds 3 and the Twins nothing. Pascual gets his 8th fatigue point. Purkey, who's at 4, is out here for the bottom of the 5th. And leading off for the Twins is left fielder Bob Allison. Allison is 0 for 1. And he strikes out, make that 0 for 2. That's the 2nd strikeout for Purkey, and there's 1 away here in the bottom of the 5th. So 1 out, nobody on. Catcher Earl Batty. Batty's 0 for 1, grounded to short his first time up. This time he hits a ground ball to third base. And it's Gene Freeze over to Gordy Coleman for the 5-3 putout. And there are 2 away. 2 outs, nobody on. Don Mincher, Twins first baseman. Mincher's 0 for 1. He hits a ground ball right at first baseman Gordy Coleman. He's going to take that one unassisted. And the Twins go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 5th. So 5 innings complete. And it's the Reds 3 and the Twins nothing. Purkey gets his 5th fatigue point. Pascual's coming back out. He's at 8. So he's got a little bit of gas in the tank yet. And he's going to face Gordy Coleman leading off here in the top of the 6th. With the Reds leading 3-0. Jim Merritt is ready to pitch for Minnesota if needed. Here's the pitch. And that's a fly ball to center field. Tony Oliva is under that, makes the catch, and there's 1 away here in the top of the 6th. It's going to bring up catcher John Edwards. Edwards is 0 for 2. And that's a 1-out single right up the middle for Edwards. So he's on first. 1 out. And pitcher Bob Purkey. Purkey's 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. He's swinging away. And make that strikeout number 3 for Purkey. And number 8 for Pascual. A lot of Ks for Pascual in this one. So there's 2 outs and a man on first. It's back to the top of the order in Don Blasingame, Red second baseman. He is 1 for 3. This time he hits a high fly ball to center field. And Tony Oliva's under that, makes the catch for the 3rd out. And that's it for the Reds here in the top of the 6th. So after 5.5, it's the Reds 3 and the Twins nothing. Pascual gets fatigue point number 9. Purkey, he's out here for the bottom of the 6th with 5 fatigue points. It's been pretty much cruising. All right, leading off is Jerry Kindle. And that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 3 for Purkey. And there's 1 away here in the top of the 6th. And decision time for Minnesota. Well, that's going to be it for Pascual. He's going to be pinch hit for here. And it's going to be Rich Rollins, who will be pinch hitting for Pascual, and pitching for the Twins in the top of the 7th will be Jim Merritt. Right now it's, whoops, Rich Rollins pinch hitting. There's one out, nobody on. Reds lead 3-0. Just a pitch. And Rollins pops this one up. And Eddie Casco calls everyone off, makes the catch. And there are 2 away. All right, back to the top of the order for the Twins and Zoilo Versalles, who's 0 for 2. Purkey winds and delivers. And that's a 2-out single. Is that? That is the first hit for the Twins. A 2-out single by Versalles breaks up the no-hitter. And Sandy Valdespino, right fielder, who is 0 for 2. That's a ground ball to short. It's an X check. Eddie Casco is a 2. Rolling 11. Casco makes a nice play, and from his knees fires over to Blasingame covering second, and they get the force on Versalles for the 3rd out. So that is a 6-4 put out. And that's it for the Twins in the bottom of the 6th. So after 6 innings, it's the Reds 3 and the Twins nothing. Purkey gets fatigue point number 6. And as mentioned, Pascual's day is done. As we go to the top of the 7th, and a new pitcher for the Twins is Jim Merritt. In 1965, he was 5-4 with a 3.16 ERA, 77 innings pitched. He's listed as a starter reliever, so he's good for 7 fatigue points. That was a pinch hit for Rollins, and then Merritt. It's a new pitcher for Minnesota. All right. So leading off here in the top of the 7th for the Reds is shortstop Eddie Casco. Casco is 0 for 2 with a walk. And now he strikes out. First strikeout for Merritt. 1 away in the top of the 7th. Next up, Veda Pinson. Pinson's 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Merritt delivers. And it's a ground ball to short. Zoilo Versalles is a 2. It's an X check. You roll a 16. Versalles makes a nice play and fires over to Mincher for the 2nd out. 6-3 put out. Nice play by Versalles. Hit saving play out there. So 2 outs and nobody on, and Reds right field slugger Frank Robinson. Robinson is 1 for 2 with a triple. This time he hits a ground ball to shortstop. And Zoilo Versalles over to Mincher at first base for another 6-3 put out to end the inning. So the Reds go 1-2-3 in the top of the 7th, and after 6.5, the Reds lead the Twins 3-0. Jim Merritt gets his first fatigue point. Purkey, who's at 6, is out here for the bottom of the 7th, and And Tony Oliva's the first batter he's going to face. Oliva's 0 for 2. This time he hits a high fly ball to center field that sends Veda Pinson back to the wall, and it's off the wall. Rolls away from Pinson, but he recovers quickly, and Oliva cruises into second base with a leadoff double. So it's only the second hit for the Twins in this game. And here's Harmon Killebrew, who's 0 for 2. He flied out to left field twice. So man on second, nobody out. And what do we got here? And he hits a fly ball to center field. Veda Pinson's under that, makes the catch. It's not deep enough for Oliva to tag up, and there's one away. So one out, man on second. Left fielder Bob Allison, who's 0 for 2. Purkey checks Oliva and delivers. And that's a single for Allison. Oliva heads to third, and we're going to check his running. He's a 1 to 16. He's being waved home. And he is gunned down. Gunned down by Frank Robinson at the plate. So Allison moves up to second on the throw home. And that is a 9-2 put out for the second out. My goodness. So 2 outs, man on second. Close one at the plate, but Oliva was called out. And that's going to bring up Earl Batty, the catcher. He's 0 for 2. Man on second. But he grounds this one to second base. That's going to be Don Blasingame over to Gordy Coleman for the 4-3 put out to end the inning. And the Twins are kept off the board by Frank Robinson's arm. And after 7 innings, it's the Reds 3 and the Twins nothing. Purkey picks up fatigue point number 7. As we go to the top of the 8th, Jim Merritt is the pitcher for the Twins, and he's going to face Wally Post and Gene Freese and Gordy Coleman here in the top of the 8th. And Post draws the leadoff walk. So he's on first, nobody out. It's going to bring up Gene Freese. Freese is 2 for 3. One of those two was a 2-run home run. Here's the pitch. It's a ground ball to shortstop, and it's an X check. And Versalis is a 2. We roll a 6. Or excuse me, not Versalis. 5, 6. It's a ground ball to shortstop. That is Versalis. He's a 2. We roll a 6. Out 3. Runner on first is out, going to second. And that is going to be a 6-4-3 double play. They get the force on Post at second. Freese is thrown out at first. And a 6-4-3. Which would be Versalis to Kindle to Don Mincher. And there are 2 away. So 2 outs, nobody on for the Reds. And first baseman Gordy Coleman. There's the pitch. And it's a ground ball to second base. Don Blasingame. Or excuse me, not Don Blasingame. That's the wrong team. Kindle to Mincher for the 3rd out. 4-3 put out. And the Reds go 1, 2, 3, sort of, after the double play in the top of the 8th. And after 7.5, it's the Reds 3, Twins nothing. Merritt gets his second fatigue point. Purkey's cruising so far with some help from his defense, but he's only at 7 fatigue points, so he's got some gas left. And he's going to face Don Mincher first here. Mincher's 0 for 2. And he lines this one right at Don Blasingame. Makes a nice play, and there's one away. It's going to bring up Jerry Kindle. Kindle is 0 for 2. He reached base on an error his first time up. And he strikes out here. That's strikeout number 4 for Purkey. 2 outs, nobody on, and the pitcher spot. And that's going to be it for Merritt. Jerry Zimmerman's going to pinch hit. Zimmerman. Pinch hit. Bottom of the 8th. Warming up for the Twins is Dave Boswell. Boswell's warming up for the Twins. He'll be ready. But right now, Jerry Zimmerman is pinch hitting for Jim Merritt. And Purkey delivers. And that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 5 for Purkey. And the Twins go 1, 2, 3 here in the bottom of the 8th. 8 innings in the books. It's the Reds 3. And the Twins nothing. Purkey gets his 8th fatigue point. And as mentioned, the new pitcher for the Twins is Dave Boswell. In 1965, he was 6-5 with a 3.40 ERA and 106 innings of work. And top of the 9th. And the first batter he's going to face is catcher John Edwards. All right. Top of the 9th. Reds lead 3-0. There's the pitch. And it's a leadoff walk for Edwards. Not a good start for Boswell. Write Boswell in here. That's going to bring up the pitcher's spot. Bob Purkey. Boswell delivers. And that's a strikeout. That's the 4th strikeout for Purkey. He's got the collar. And there's one away. It's the first strikeout for Boswell. But Purkey has struck out all 4 times he's come to the plate. Okay, so there's a man on first with 1 out. Back to the top of the order, Don Blasingame. He hits a fly ball to center field. Tony Oliva's under that. Makes the catch, 2 away. And warming up for the Reds if needed, it's going to be Bill Henry. Bill Henry will be warming up for the Reds. And he'll pitch in the bottom of the 9th if needed. All right, so 2 outs. Man on first. And Eddie Casco. Casco is 0 for 3 with a walk. This time he pops it up. And Kindle's waving everyone else off. He makes the catch for the 3rd out. That's it for the Reds here in the top of the 9th. They're 3 outs away from returning to the hill. And Boswell gets his first fatigue point. Bill Henry is ready for the Reds in the bullpen. But this is Purkey's game to win or lose right now. Well, win, I should say. Hopefully he doesn't lose, at least from the Reds' point of view. And it's back to the top of the order for the Twins. Zoilo Versalles, who has one of the 2 hits. They have 3. He has one of those 3 hits. And look out. It's a deep fly ball to right field. This sends, oh my goodness, this sends Frank Robinson back, but he just watches it go over his head. It's way up, out of here, gone. And Versalles leads off the 9th inning with a solo shot. And the Twins avoid the shutout. And it's now 3-1. And Purkey gets his 9th fatigue point. The Minnesota faithful, who haven't left early, are back in their seats. Here's Valdespino. He is 0 for 3. And he strikes out. There's 1 away. Purkey gets some confidence back. And that is strikeout number 6 for Purkey. So 1 out, nobody on. Reds lead 3-1. Tony Oliva comes to the plate. He's 1 for 3, doubled, but was thrown out trying to score on Bob Allison's single. This time he pops it up. It's going to stay in the infield. And Don Blasingame's under that. There's 2 away. Twins are down to their last out. It's Harmon Killebrew. Killebrew is 0 for 3. 3 flyouts. Purkey delivers. And it's a ground ball to shortstop. Eddie Casco over to Gordy Coleman, and that's it. Once again, the Twins can only hold on to the hill for 1 game. And they lose this one 3-1 to the Reds, who get that 5th win and have themselves in a 4-way tie with the Yankees, Phillies, and Indians, all at 5 wins in the tournament. All right, let's see if we can get some totals for you. The Reds had 3 runs on six hits. They committed 1 error. Twins had 1 run on four hits. They did not commit any errors. Winning pitcher Bob Purkey, of course, he went the distance, giving up that solo shot to Zoilo Versalles in the bottom of the 9th, but he gets the win. And the loss goes to Pascual. So in the next game, it will be in Cincinnati, and the Reds will be hosting the Brooklyn Dodgers for game number 39 of the Oldtimer Kings King of the Hill tournament. If you hung out with me tonight, I appreciate you sticking around, and I'll be back again in the near future with another video, and until then, take care.